Hey there guys, and welcome back to Gwent Academy. This video is just going to be a couple tips and tricks how to reach 4.2k in the ladder before it ends in like 6 days. And I think you guys would rather have this than another deck right now, the series discard deck, so I decided to do this one instead. But my first tip is don't just net deck. I mean, you can to start with if you're trying out a new deck, like yeah, just copy out one of the meta decks, but it's more important to actually like put things in for what you're facing more of in the ladder and changing the deck up a little after you got a base start to the deck, which I do a lot because you face a lot of different things at different points in the ladder. So like if you're facing a lot of dwarf boosting or a lot of boosting decks that line them up and stuff, and at your current ladder rank, then you could like take out, or there are a lot of armor decks, like a lot of decks that play immune boost and stuff, so they have armor, so last rate isn't as great. Could actually swap that out for a Mardrome, or even like this is just with this deck, like things I would do, or take out Donner on Hinder or a Grimmist if I was facing a lot of boosting decks, one of these two, for something like a DM Bomb, so that way I could reset all those units. Or if I was facing like a lot of weather decks, I would definitely leave Gremiston because he's like a free clear skies in the last rate. And I might actually end up taking out one of these war longships or one of these pirate captains for something like a clear skies or another last rate, since weather decks like to play a lot of monsters. But they are running more immune boosts now, so last rate might not be as good. But if they're not running immune boosts, yeah, another last rate would be really nice. So it's just a quick tip about how to sort of build your deck and don't just net deck something. Next we got card advantage. Card advantage is really important. You do not want to go down 3 cards to win the first round. Winning the first round is important, but it's not important enough to make you go 3 cards down, because chances are you're probably going to lose the next round unless you're playing something against like draw power Niflgaard against a really discard heavy type deck like this. Then you might still be able to win because you'll get card advantage back by drawing cards when they can't. But besides that, you really do not want to go more than 2 cards down to win the first round. Even 2 cards is risky, really risky to win, just to win the first round. That's why going first kind of sucks. Next we got mulligan correctly. It's always important to mulligan correctly because that's going to increase your chances a lot. Like with this type of deck, if I was holding on to, let's say, 3 pirate captains in my starting hand, and that's something I wouldn't want to start with, probably like 2 of these or 1 of these clan and crate raiders, I'd actually throw the clan and crate raider back first before getting rid of one of these pirates, because then I would guarantee myself to not see one of these clan and crate raiders. Because if I throw the pirate back first, chances are I could get another clan crate raider, and then I wouldn't have enough discards to get rid of everything, or mulligans to get rid of everything in my starting hand that I wouldn't want. Next is how to play your deck. Like, unless you're playing a combo deck, I know I mentioned this one before. If you're playing like a combo deck, you want to make the same move every turn. Like with this type of deck, you want to play your warship first, or 2 warships. Then after that, with this type of deck, it's situational. You usually want to play your weaker stuff first and hold on to your strongest stuff until you need to use it. But you want to play your weaker stuff, but yet keep yourself in the same power range as your opponent. Like, don't let yourself go 20 points behind, because you're basically going to give them a free round 1 win. Unless you're playing monsters and you got the crones in your hand, because then you can catch right back up and it's fine. But without monsters or Northern Realms Reaver Hunters, I guess, could do it too, because they could play like the Tamarian Infantry and catch back up. Yeah, you want to keep yourself in the same power range as them. And the next one, I'd say, write down like what you're facing after every round. Or, I mean, it's easier if you got a deck tracker. because they do it automatically, but you can still just write it down, which is what I do. You can write down like, oh, I used a Skleege discard deck and I faced this type of deck and I lost, and then you can see what type of deck you're losing against the most or what type of deck you're facing the most in the ladder at the current moment. Helps you get more information on your decks and what you're facing, so you know how to adjust your deck slightly to have a higher chance of what you're facing the most of. And also, if you're facing a lot of one deck that's really wrecking your deck, switch up your deck. Like if you're facing weather decks and they're just destroying whatever type of deck you're running, then try to run something like the Bloody Baron deck that just totally destroys monster decks. But you wouldn't switch up your deck unless you run in like against the same deck that destroys your deck like 50% to 60% of the time, because maybe even 40 between those numbers, because then it wouldn't be worth as much. And I mean, if you're only facing the deck that's destroying you one every 10 games, then your deck's probably still fine to play in the ladder currently, because every deck has like a deck that's going to counter it, and one of every 10 games getting countered isn't so bad. Alright, next tip is try to run meta cards in every deck. Right now it's Marjoram, Lacerate. Those are the two counter cards. You want at least one Marjoram and one Lacerate if you can in every deck. I mean, this one I'm currently not running one. I don't really have room for it, and boosting decks aren't really a problem for it, so I don't really need the Marjoram right now. But if I was facing a lot and I was getting wrecked by it, I'd take out probably a warship for it or something. Just try running the Marjoram to take care of the X-Men or whatever I'm facing. Next we got, do not let ladder tilt get to you. Like if you lose one or two games in a row or something, you start feeling like getting a little bit tilted at the game or something, you might as well just take a break from ranked at the moment. Play some casuals or just take a break from the game, because you're going to play worse if you keep playing when you're angry, because you're not going to be thinking straight, and as you get higher up you need to think a lot clearer than the lower ranks to be able to pull off a win. I know that sometimes I get tilted at ladder and end up making a stupid mistake in one of the games, and that's when I realize, okay, yeah, I'm really tilted right now and I need to stop playing ranked because my gameplay is going really bad. Last two tips is mute your opponent's taunts. Some people really get greedy at this point stage and start just spamming taunts to try to tilt you, so just mute them in the options and that'll take care of that. Or if you want to be that guy, you can just sit there and spam taunt your opponent, maybe tilt them, I don't know. I don't do that. It seems like a waste of time, but there's that. And then we got learning your opponent's decks. Like, the more types of decks you know, like most decks run around the same things, so just keep practicing one deck. Don't keep switching decks, because then you'll know what cards to play when against certain types of decks with your deck and know what counters it and whatnot. So just stick to one deck, or maybe two, so that way if you're facing a lot of what counters your deck, you have something to switch to. But just keep putting out games with those two decks and you'll eventually climb, because the whole thing is experience. A lot of experience comes into play of knowing, like, okay, I'm facing boosting dwarves, I want to keep these cards, or I'm facing tempo elves, I want to keep these other cards, get rid of these ones, and play these at this certain time. And that's what really learning a deck is, and knowing what cards you need to hold on to for round 3 and whatnot. So yeah, definitely keep playing out one deck. And if you guys enjoyed this video or stuck around this long, remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys in the next video.